Welcome to Finding Holiness, where we delve into timeless Torah wisdom, revealing the sacred in everyday moments. Join us on a journey to elevate your spirituality and discover holiness in every aspect of life. I'm your host, Rabbi David Kadosh, and together, let's embark on a path of spiritual exploration. I hope you enjoy this next episode. All right, Erev Tov. Today I had a ha'ara I want to share with you. An idea. I was teaching my Gemara class, Masechet Berachot, and the Mishna in the first Mishna in the fifth parak of Berachot talks about how a person has to pray with koved rosh. It literally means a heavy head, but meaning he has to have concentration with anava, know who he's standing in front of. And then there's a line of Chasidim Rishonim, Hayu shohin sha'a achat umipalelim. The early pious sages, they used to prepare themselves. They used to wait for 1 hour before they prayed, and then pray. So we're at the part of the Gemara that I'm teaching where the Gemara is discussing this line, and it quotes Rabbi Yoshua, and the source the Gemara asks, where is this from? And Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi says, Ashrei Yoshevei Betecha. First, you have to be Yoshvei Betecha. You have to dwell in your home, clear your head, get ready, and then Od Yalu Chasela. Then you can go and praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that's the source. That pasuk is actually the source that the Chachamim would first prepare themselves for an hour, wait an hour, and then pray. But then Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi says something else. He says, and not only that, but Hamitpalel tzarich lishhot sha'a achat. You have to wait an hour after you pray. Also, to think about what happened about your tefillah and stuff like that. And the Gemara there brings another source, another pasuk that shows that the Chachamim used to wait and even an hour after the tefillah. So the Rambam actually he codifies this halacha. You open the Rambam, Hilchot Tefillah, I believe it's the 4th chapter, Halacha Tet Zayin. He writes over there that the Chachamim, the Chasidim HaRishonim, used to wait 1 hour before, and used to wait an hour after, and their Tefillah in the middle is an hour also. On a whole side point, the Gemara then asks, by the way, okay, if you're waiting an hour before you pray, and you're waiting an after you pray, and your tefillah takes an hour, and you're doing this 3 times a day, okay, then what exactly does your day consist of? How do you work? How do you learn? How does it be? So Gemara there answers very famously that to zechut of the tefillah, the parnasa, the little parnasa that they work is mitparechet, becomes extra bracha, is beshefa, because of that tefillah, and the learning that they do also is retained, and they're able to move at a lot faster pace and retain the learning without having to review it. Anyways, that was a side point. But I did notice, after teaching the Rambam, that the Rambam codifies both the previous, codifies waiting an hour before Tefillah and waiting an hour after Tefillah, like Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi said in the Gemara. So my question that I had was, why didn't the Mishna say that? The Mishna only said that the Chasidim HaRishonim Hayu shoyin sha'a achat before and then pray. But if we actually, now the Mishnah came well before the Rambam, okay, but Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, who compiled the Mishnayot, and he knew there was actually a Braita, which is Braita and Mishnayot are the same level of authority, and he knew about that Braita, which stated that a person should also wait an hour afterwards. Why didn't he mention that in the Mishnah? And so I actually asked myself that question, while I was giving the class. So I came up with an answer, and I want to share it with you. That what is the purpose of waiting an hour before?
To warm up.
To warm up, to prepare. Right? You got to get yourself. In those days there was no sidurim. It was meditation. That's really, really what it was. Whether it was at home or it was in shul. These rabbis would sit and meditate for an hour to connect to Hashem, okay? And then they would come to Bet Knesset and perform their tefillah their Shmona Esrei. Some say, by the way, this has to do with our Pesukei de Zimra in a way. Is that connection? Is that shohin? Is that preparation that we do? So what is the purpose of after? Why would I wait an hour afterwards? So the answer is reflection. It has to be reflection. Okay, now that I've prayed, how was my tefillah? How did it come up? Did I connect? Did I do what I was supposed to do? Did I ask what I was supposed to ask for? Was I thankful for what I needed to be thankful for? And so you sit back and you now contemplate and you calculate and you put everything together and you say, okay, how would I rate this tefillah? And that's how the Chachamim would probably come back down to where then they would go on their day. So, and that's why they're both very important and both codified by the Rambam. So again, back to the question, why didn't Rabbi Yehuda Nasi mention the latter half? And again, this is just my answer. I didn't see this anywhere. I said I would probably look more into it. But I think that if you had the choice to do one or the other, preparation has to be for more important. And it has to be first and foremost, because without preparation for anything, then whatever you're going to do is not going to have any substance. If you don't prepare for the tefillah in advance, then what is your tefillah worth? What are you going to reflect on after the fact when you haven't really done anything? What did you say? You mumbled words if you haven't prepared? So the Rambam does indeed codify it, but reflection doesn't have to be right away. Maybe the reflection can come later on at night. Maybe a person has to rush to his parnasah, run to work, and therefore he can't perform the reflection. So maybe later on he could say, okay, I didn't pray. But preparation's a must. How do you enter the Bet Knesset? How do you enter the tefillah? Without actually, and I when I mentioned this to a couple of my colleagues right after this, that was a he'ara. So one of my colleagues said, that the Rav Soloveitchik, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, he was very, very big in preaching that the preparation for the mitzvah is almost as important as the mitzvah itself. And that's why you have the custom of L'Shem Yichud. Hareni Muchanim Umzumanim, we are here, we're ready, we're going to do this mitzvah. And then we're going to, we say that paragraph. Why? Why? Because this is the preparation. I'm not just jumping in there, what's going on? Sfirat HaOmer? Okay, boom, and you say it. And then what were you thinking about at that, at that moment? So I believe that maybe that's the answer. I'm glad to hear your thoughts maybe afterwards if you want. But I think that the preparation, without the preparation, then you can't reflect on anything because your tefillah has no substance. It's in shambles. You came to shul. Where'd the time go? Oh, you looked at your watch. You're already at Shir Shel Yom. How did we get to Shir Shel Yom? Right? So.
Everything is like, okay, the preparation is just as important.
Badai.
Okay, like if you're doing a wedding, or if you're painting, or whatever you want to do, you have to prepare.
You have to plan it out. You got to that's mamash. That's what that's a job of project managers. And so I just thought of that, and yeah, for sure. Okay.
I'd rather concentrate on what I'm saying than the hour then and an hour before, an hour after. At least one.
Okay, that's a chidush in of itself. The fact that the Chachamim and these Chasidim were sitting there praying for 1 hour. And by the way, when they say tefillah, it wasn't the tefillah that we have that starts from Korbanot all the way to Alenu Shabeach, because we also take an hour. All right, it was their Amidah was an hour. That's their actual tefillah was an hour. Now, in terms of for us, this is a halacha, by the way. Like you have to show. Okay, but we are not the Chasidim Arishonim, so now we're not the early pious greats. But we do have an obligation to prepare, and we do have an obligation to reflect. It doesn't have to be sha'a achat, but it has to be something. It has to be. A person should not come to Bet Knesset when he's half asleep. He should not, and he should not, just rush out to his job. I did read one commentary that talks about how our whole day is really thinking about our wealth and our parnasa and our gashmiyut, and that's really what it is. Like, you wake up on a weekday. How am I going to do today? How are my crops going to be? What am I going to do in the market? And you're just thinking. You run out of tefillah So there's that moment before and after where you just got to kind of separate that and focus on the ruchniut, and certainly afterwards as well. Not just to jump in right into the gashmi and the physicality and the materialism, but rather it's also keeping a little connection. And I think that is very key for any Jew, not just the great pious ones, but also for us laymen and those just trying to build a little connection.